So phylum Annelida. Now in this slide we will be discussing about the classification of phylum Annelida. Phylum Annelida can be classified into three major classes. Now the first class is referred to as Polychaetae. Now Polychaeta means poly means many and chaeta means the bristle-like structures which are present mostly associated with the locomotory structures. Because these animals bear lot of bristle-like structures on their body, they are referred to as the Polychaetae. Now most of these polychaetes are marine worms. They are marine creatures that are found in the seas and the oceans. They have a specialized locomotory structure which is referred to as the parapodia. Now if these are the segments of the body, you all know that annelids exhibit metameric segmentation. Now if these are the segments of the body, you will find fleshy structures on both sides of the body, and these fleshy projections which help in locomotion on both the sides of the body are referred to as parapodia. The parapodia are also associated with certain bristle-like structures. See, these are called the chaetae or the bristles. So because they have so many bristles associated with the parapodia, we put them to a class that is referred to as Polychaeta. Now in most annelids, a few of the segments unite together, fuse together to form a girdle or a ring-like structure that is referred to as the clitellum. The clitellum has something to do with production of a structure called the cocoon, within which the egg and the sperm are deposited during the time of reproduction. But in polychaetes, this clitellum is absent. If you see the body of the earthworm, you can see how a few of the segments are fused together to form a ring or a girdle, a broad girdle-like structure such as what I am depicting here. So if these are the segments, you can see how a few of the segments are united together to form what is referred to as the clitellum. So this clitellum is absent in the case of these marine worms which belong to Polychaetae. The best example for the marine worm that belongs to Polychaetae is Nereis. Nereis is also commonly referred to as the sandworm. Okay, and also polychaetes are the first organisms in phylum Annelida that do possess a distinct head. So they exhibit a very clear cephalization. So a distinct head, a prominent head is found inside their body, and they are also exhibiting, like I told you, clitellum is absent, and also their body segments. Now suppose these are the body segments of the polychaetes. How are the segments differentiated from one another outside? Now they're demarcated on the outside by these margins. Now these depressions of furrow or grooves which run along the margins are simply referred to as the groove. That's how you can demarcate between one segment and the other segment. However, on the inside also you can demarcate one segment from the other segment by the presence of a partition that is referred to as the septa. So this kind of an internal segmentation by the presence of these partition or septa between the two adjacent segments is a feature of Polychaeta. So we can say that they do exhibit internal segmentation. Internal segmentation is prominent. Another unique feature of Polychaeta is they do not have ducts to carry the gametes. So gonoducts are absent. Then where are their gametes? How are their gametes taken to the outside? Because you all have to remember the polychaetes exhibit external fertilization. External fertilization means the sperm and the egg are transferred to the outside in the surrounding water, and they are most importantly unisexual. All polychaetes are unisexual or dioecious, meaning the sexes are separate. Unisexual or dioecious means the sexes are separate. Then how are the gametes released to the outside? Now the gametes are released into the coelom first. The coelom gets filled with the gametes, and later through the nephridioduct, that is the duct of the nephridial system, the gametes are sent to the outside. Sometimes the body of the animal itself ruptures, releasing the gametes to the outside. Did you understand? So gonoducts or gamete carrying ducts are absent. They exhibit external fertilization. They are unisexual or dioecious. This is the only class under phylum Annelida, that is class Polychaeta, which includes unisexual forms. The next one is the class to which earthworms belong to, oligo meaning few and chaeta meaning bristles, and here the chaeta are modified, or the the chaetae or the bristles are modified into S-shaped structures. Now these S-shaped structures, which are made up of chitin and they're embedded in the body wall, are referred to as the chaeta. Singular is chaeta, plural is chaetae. So like I mentioned, there are S-shaped chitinous structures called chaeta, which are embedded in the skin, and they are very minute in appearance. They do not have fleshy outgrowths in the body, that is called as the parapodia. And usually the chaeta is arranged in the form of a ring. Now suppose these are the segments of the body of an earthworm. Again, in earthworm also you can see that there is an external groove that is separating one segment from the other segment, and these S-shaped structures are arranged in the form of a ring around each segment. You can see how the setae are present in the form of a circle, in the form of a single ring-like arrangement. Okay, they're embedded in the body wall. In them clitellum is present, which helps in the formation of cocoon. Even earthworms also exhibit internal segmentation. That means if this is one segment, if this is the next segment, the two segments are not only separated externally by a groove, but internally also there will be a partition between the two segments, which is referred to as the septa. They do not exhibit larval forms, and they are bisexual or hermaphroditic forms. When I say bisexual, the word I must use to describe their sexuality is monoecious forms. Monoecious means sexes are not separate. The same organism has both male and female reproductive structures. Their development is direct. Fertilization is external. The best example is earthworms. The last class in phylum Annelida is class Hirudinea, which includes sanguivorous ectoparasitic forms. Sanguivorous means they survive on blood. They feed on blood. And the best example is leech. So leeches belong to this class, which is referred to as Hirudinea. Like I said, they cling on to the body of the host from the outside. They're ectoparasitic. They have a dorso-ventrally flattened body. They do not have a parapodia, nor do they have setae or S-shaped chitinous structures, but they possess suckers. Now some of the suckers help in locomotion, and some of them help to hold on to the host body so that they don't fall off. They can consume the blood after creating a wound on the skin of the host. So they have two suckers, one near the mouth, which helps in feeding, and one disc-like posterior sucker, which helps in locomotion, because some of them use that in order to move on the ground. And also some aquatic leeches swim with the help of the disc-like posterior suckers. Surprisingly, the coelom of this animal, that is of members Hirudinea, is filled with a special tissue that is referred to as the botryoidal tissue. The botryoidal tissue provides mechanical support. It also stores iron and calcium. It is a storage tissue. It stores iron and calcium, and this botryoidal tissue also helps in the wound healing process. It stores nutrients, it stores minerals, it helps in revascularization or supplying blood to the wounded region so that the healing process can happen quickly. Even in the case of leeches, there is no larval stages, but leeches exhibit internal fertilization. The fertilization happens within the female reproductive system. They do have a clitellum, that is to produce a cocoon, but it develops only temporarily during the breeding season or the reproductively active season, not like the earthworm where the cocoon is present throughout the life of the organism. The most common example for class Hirudinea is the Indian cattle leech, that is scientific name being Hirudinaria granulosa. So this was the three major classes under phylum Annelida.